Speaking of dark and weird stories, I don't know if we're allowed to talk about it. If we aren't, that's fine. You don't have to talk about it. But you told me a story, and I think you're trying to make a movie out of it, which I think is a great idea, about a woman who got into ketamine, and was an heiress, and then disappeared, but might be a time traveler.
Oh, yeah. I would love to talk about this. Not only would I love to talk about this, I've never talked about this publicly.
Okay, breaking news. This is an incredible story. And
strategically, I've never talked about it. And this, again, is a story that I know so much about because of you, in part, where there's a few of these really weird books about drugs that exist, some of which people don't seem to know about very much, but they have a cult following. I mean, the chemist Alexander Shulgin wrote these 2 books with his wife, P-Call and T-Call, that are their experiences testing all these different drugs on themselves and often having sex and describing the sexual response with these different drugs. And these books, P-Call and T-Call, are amazing and are really, really...
Did you ever do that? So experiment with sex and drugs?
I think probably most people that have tried these things have tried that. But so these books are fascinating. And there's a number of these kind of underground texts, but there's one that I'd always been obsessed with that was particularly mysterious. You couldn't actually even get a physical copy of this book because reportedly the family of the author had all of them destroyed. The book.
Do you have one?
I eventually did get my hands on one.
Allegedly you have.
But almost nobody even has a physical. It's not even something that you can see.
Who published that?
A computer company called Para Research.
Wow.
In Massachusetts. Again, another odd detail of this story. So this book is something that no one ever even gets to see themselves, but a Xerox copy of it is distributed as PDFs or bootlegs, or also bootlegs that people distribute. Yeah. And this is part of the strange appeal of this mysterious book. And superficially, when you read this book, it's a kind of love story. It's about this woman who's studying past life regression, who meets a handsome anesthesiologist named Dr. Howard Altunian, and the two fall in love, and they use ketamine together and find that not only are they in love in this particular incarnation, but in fact their love has spanned all of time in human history, and they have been lovers in many, many different lifetimes. The book is really bizarre, and as she's describing their relationship, it's all very positive about how wonderful it is, but there is, even in her own description, creepy, strange stuff that is like emerging, like arguments between her and Howard. So a lot of the book is based on tape recordings that she made of them injecting ketamine together. And so in the transcribed recordings, Howard will be saying these things like, I don't know what I'm going to do when this book comes out. I'm going to lose my medical license. I worked my whole life to get this medical license, and it's all going to be over. And she's saying, well, you shouldn't think about yourself. You should think about humanity. And this is really a small price to pay. But there's obviously strange tension emerging between these two people. And as the book progresses, it also appears as if Marcia Moore is becoming increasingly delusional. She's starting to believe that she is a reincarnation of Cleopatra, and the tone of the book is very mysterious. She, toward the end, goes to visit the ketamine researcher John C. Lilly, and he actually warns her because he's just come out of a delusional state himself, where he was concerned that an extraterrestrial computer that he called solid state intelligence, that was operating something called ECHO, the Earth Coincidence Control Office, which was like a extraterrestrial computerized coincidence monitoring system that would eventually invade our planet, and the only weapon that mankind would have in this war against this extraterrestrial computer would be dolphins, because dolphins could survive in salt water, but computers can't.
I'm going to do that just in case it happens.
Yes, dolphins. You need dolphin army. And he also thought that this computer had stolen his penis at one point.
Well, as it does.
Yeah. So this researcher, John C. Lilly, cautions Marcia Moore against going deeper, but she continues the book.
Going deeper, i.e. taking more K.
Yeah, but she believes that ketamine is going to save humanity, that to discontinue her experiments would risk the future of mankind, and that one day throughout the land, people will have ketamine clinics where they can use ketamine, and this will usher in a new dawn of humanity. So there's something very prescient about many of the predictions that she makes, but immediately after this book was published, she disappeared without a trace. And to this day, nobody knows exactly what happened to Marcia Moore. So I was obsessed with Marcia Moore. After the second season of Pharmacopoeia, Vice Films had a huge infusion of cash, and you all offered to help me develop it as a film. This is 2018. That's how far back this goes. So the first step was getting the film rights to this book. Yeah. And for 1 year, I worked with the vice producer, Mimi Packer, and a few, he's great. We worked together trying to figure out a way to get the rights to this book, but both of the authors were dead and the rights had defaulted to their...
Who are the authors?
This woman, Marcia Moore, and her husband, Howard Altunian.
So it was them?
Yeah, they wrote, it was a book.
And wasn't he under suspicion if she disappeared?
Yeah, he was very much under suspicion, yeah.
Because it's either two crazy drug freaks murdering their wives, which is boring but a great story, or it's time travel and aliens and we know how the world ends. It's pretty good.
Or there's another possibility as well. There's one really weird possibility.
Yeah, I like it.
One strange thing that was going on when you look at the history of computer research is that there was an enormous, disproportionate, puzzlingly large amount of early computer research on astrology computers.
On astrology?
Astrology computers. This was a huge emphasis of early computer research in a way that is something that no one would ever expect. Before you could get word processors, there were commercially available astrology computers. And one of the strange ideas is that the military was funding some of this research on astrology computers, and a CIA whistleblower named Miles Copeland claimed that the CIA was building compromised astrology computers for distribution to foreign heads of state to give astrological readings that would be favorable to U.S. interests. This was
which is bonkers.
Bonkers, but maybe true.
Maybe true. Okay,
maybe true. This is especially interesting because during the Reagan administration, there's very solid evidence corroborated by many different people that the Reagan family astrologer, Joan Quigley, was making fundamental decisions. And so again, using an astrology computer to do these calculations.
I don't know what an astrology computer is.
It's exactly what it sounds like, because doing the actual mathematical calculation of the positions of the planets is very labor intensive.
They have computers for astrology.
But what if you had a computer that could just automatically calculate the position of all of the planets, something that you can now effortlessly do with an app on your phone? But this was a huge innovation. It would save so much time. But the issue is, I think this is actually like one of the early iterations of one of the major issues that we're currently facing is, can you trust the computer?
Sure.
Who programmed the computer? Whose code is giving you these readings, and what are their interests in providing this information?
So bring us to number 3. So we've got either the husband murdered the wife, or the lover murdered her because she was going to drop dime on him for being a K user, or they figured out how to travel through time and figured out that the aliens are on us. And what's the third one?
Some kind of strange interaction with government, astrology computer researchers, and political astroanalysis, which she was an early proponent of. She'd actually written an entire book on political astroanalysis. So this idea of harnessing the power of astrologers to influence politicians, which
sounds crazy until Reagan.
And also her brother is doing stuff with the CIA. The entire family is connected to Manhattan Project scientists. There's all this weirdness surrounding.
And who put out the book again?
A computer company.
That's like a Severance type thing. Like, it's like the computer company, and they put out the book, and the book is just like them being taped, and that's weird.
It's really weird.
Got to make that movie.
I have to. So then 2018, we spent the whole year trying to get the rights to it. We couldn't do it. We kept trying, couldn't get the rights. Eventually, we did get the film rights.
From who?
in a very convoluted arrangement that maybe I shouldn't even characterize entirely, but it happened.
Wow.
And we now have the rights to this and got to get some money to make this movie. It's one of the greatest stories ever told.
We got to make it. That is so.